Hi everyone, and thank you for subscribing to my channel. Today I'd like to speak about young Harvey Morrison, the 9-year-old boy who passed away on the 29th of July this year. He had faced unimaginable pain during his short life, where he had spina bifida scoliosis. Now, he was removed from a hospital waiting list in terms of his necessary surgery, and according to the latest revelations, which was a protected disclosure from a member of Children's Health Ireland, they had said he had been moved onto a different list, and the list was a palliative care list. Now, this was absolutely just remarkable and should have major political ramifications for the political class in Ireland. Now, of course, we've seen the massive public demonstrations back in August. A couple of thousand people hit the streets around the campaign to demand justice for Harvey and all those little children who have been denied proper care and treatment by the Irish political establishment and through the medical system in Ireland. Now, this was led by his parents, Gillian and Stephen, and of course many of those advocate groups, and they met with Simon Harris a number of weeks ago. Now, Harris back in 2017 said, when he was Minister for Health, said children will be waiting no longer than 4 months for necessary surgery. And now the system is completely nearly at breaking point. But Harris, again, typically in Irish society, they fail upwards for his incompetence around the health service. He's now leader of Fine Gael and is Taoiseach in waiting in the second half of 2026. But of course, this, as I said, has major political ramifications because of what's been taking place. And the parents met with Harris a number of weeks ago, and they said they would look at trying to set up a statutory inquiry. Now, of course, the parameters and the whole conditions of this have to be set by the parents and the advocate groups. That's what their clear demand is. And of course, it has to be a fully independent, transparent public inquiry, but we've already seen that before in Ireland, where there's been so many public inquiries and there's been next to no accountability at the back of these long-lasting public inquiries. But really, what's fundamentally important with this is that now the pressures to start building as political classes following the absolutely just stark and shocking revelations that came from that whistleblower within Children's Health Ireland. And because Harvey's mum came out over the weekend and said that she has struggled for years and fought for basic rights for Harvey. She said since she was 12 weeks pregnant, at 36 weeks pregnant, she said she was again fighting for proper care with the neonatal department within the maternity hospital where she was due to give birth, and also around fighting for proper bed care at home in terms of access to a hospital bed, access to a wheelchair instead of a buggy, and all the basic services that should have been available for young Harvey but were denied because the brave parents had to stand up and fight for it. And they're fighting for so many other people in Irish society struggling with this as well in this day and age, which is absolutely remarkable when you consider how wealthy on paper Ireland is, but yet many children's health needs are basically neglected, same as the amount of children who are in so-called homeless accommodation today. Well over 5,200 children in those state-sponsored incarceration facilities. And of course, we have a stark history in Ireland around incarceration facilities. Remember the Magdalen laundries and many more. And at the same time, we still have 4 survivors of the industrial and reform schools who have been on hunger strike for 51 days today in Ireland. Yes, 51 days, demanding basic justice. Again, this is absolutely remarkable. Back in 1999, the 11th of May, Bertie Ahern stood up and he apologised to all the children suffered because of physical and sexual abuses in state-run institutions. But of course, it only applies to a certain amount of people, not the 4,000 survivors of the industrial and reform schools, for instance, who are denied access to a Health Amendment Act card and a contributory pension, which would actually only cost an extra €26 per week for the 4,000 survivors. And currently 2 of those survivors who were there, the 2 Marys, I believe, are still getting treated with nebulisers at the moment, still encamped outside Dáil Éireann on Kildare Street. One of the ladies is 73 years of age as well. It's absolutely just horrific, but it demonstrates what's taken place in Irish society, where there's been so much mistreatment, cover up in Irish society, and then this continues, much the same as what's happened with young Harvey and his parents' struggle and fight for justice for their young son who passed away, as I said, on the 29th of July. Absolutely tragic. And at the same time, we've also seen this now with the industrial and reform schools in Ireland, in terms of the mistreatment years and years later of many of those who suffered unimaginable cruelty at the hands of state-sponsored facilities in terms of physical and sexual abuse. Absolutely just horrific. But this is Ireland, this is what's taking place, so please support those people who are on hunger strike. Demand that they get access to that basic Health Amendment Act card and proper contributory pension. And it's up to 4,000 who are still alive of those survivors of those absolutely horrific circumstances that took place in Irish society that they tried to brush under the carpet, much the same now as today. They're still trying to brush under the carpet in terms of the so-called emergency accommodation and the mistreatment of young children, in particular on scoliosis treatment. At the same time, even today there was reports on Monday of children awaiting basic psychological supports and care, and to see people up to 13 years for children. So much for the rights of the children. And we remember as well the victim of the horrific attack a number of weeks ago in City West as well, the young 10-year-old girl. This is what's taking place in Irish society. It's off the wall. The basic care of people have been neglected at the altar of these neoliberal policies of the Irish government, who haven't any interest in serving the needs of people. They're more interested in profit and friends of everything. So this is the way Ireland's become soulless country, where the value of the decency and dignity in society has been completely undermined by the political establishment. So please support my videos, please share them far and wide. And I'm very grateful that everybody supports my videos far and wide as well. I'm very grateful. And get out the real story to what's taking place in Ireland in November of 2025. Take care. Slán go fóill. Bye bye.